me go to your
Hello,
channel.
everybody, and welcome back to the channel. This is Twanna, and I have a special guest for you guys tonight, the Information Man. Hey, Info Man.
Hey, how you doing, sister? Good to be here with you, and I'm looking forward to the discussion, and hope everybody out there is doing well that comes in tonight and watches the stream. So thank you for having me on.
It's been a while. It's been a while,
Yeah,
but
it's been a
you're on.
while, but I'm still glad to be here, and I know we've
I
been trying
love
to
it.
do this for a while, but we'll try to get our schedules together a little bit better. But we're finally here at this moment, and I want to definitely chop it up with you. There's a lot going on in the news, a lot of
Ah,
gossip, and so happy to be here.
there's a lot. Listen, did you hear about the Joel Osteen thing?
Yeah, you know what? I read the article. Look. There are people who already believe that Joe Osteen was shady. This kind of confirms it. You got money hitting in a wall,
Yep.
and there's always been swirling around him the question of accountability of where money is going. And
Right.
remember when they had when you had the really bad storm out there in Texas, and there was
Yep.
criticism of him about not opening up the doors of his church. So
Yes.
we see where the money's going.
Child, they said it was because of a robbery or something. And I was like, but if somebody was robbing the church, how did the money get in the wall? Robbers don't put money in walls.
No. You know
Like,
what it's let's just break it down. People who are involved in illegal activities or people who are gaining a lot of money, like drug dealers, for example, you
yeah.
nest some of your money for a rainy day, like a contingency plan, just in case things go bad. You got a little money and you can break out. So to me, him having that money in the wall or the wall, to me, that was a contingency plan, in my
And then
opinion.
look, nobody was talking about this, but you know me, I'm anti-private eye. How about them PPP loans? What does a pastor of a megachurch need with $4.4 million of PPP loan money? See, nobody really knew, but y'all know how I do. Okay.
Right.
I cover all nooks and
See,
crannies. I was like,
this,
so you're supposed to be using the money to pay your staff. You have
right.
300 people on the staff. How much money are they making on this staff that you need $4.4 million? Now it's like, oh, Joel, you have to pay this money back, which I'm sure he can since they found all the money in the wall and whatnot.
See, the thing about it, this is what makes people sometimes disenchanted with the church is that, he has a nonprofit status, right? And it
Hmm.
makes you wonder how, when you have churches and pastors and people that lead these religious congregations, they can actually get over on the government in so many ways. If you've got an
Yep.
individual who is shady, not ethical, when you've got that status as a church, oh, you can get
Yeah.
over in a big way. And it appears that there could be some shady business like this going on with his church and with him when you've got money
Yeah.
hidden. And if I'm not mistaken, when you've got money hidden, I think couldn't the feds come in, because now it's a matter of, wow, you got to pay taxes on money and you got to be able to prove how you got that money. And then the question is, why is that amount of money in a wall that's unaccounted for by the IRS? Now the feds come in and investigate.
He's definitely going to get audited. All the mega church pastors eventually get audited. They're going to want to know about the plane. They're going to want to know about the Ferrari. I mean, my pastor does drive a Ferrari. You know what I'm saying? He ain't broke, but he ain't Ferrari.
Right.
I'm
He's
just
not Ferrari rich, huh?
like, I would kind of feel suspect if my pastor rolled up in a Ferrari and I'm driving a Camry. Like,
You mean over the years, people have complained about that. Can if the pastor is driving rich and dressing rich and the congregation is struggling, what does that say? I mean, it's in the good book, doesn't it say about being a guardian of your flock, right?
Right.
You should be taking care of your flock. You should be
They
if
should
they're
be taken care
struggling,
of. Like, no,
right,
nobody should be struggling. Nobody should be, without anything.
right,
If that kind of money is flowing through the church, then people should have clothes on their back. They should have food to eat. They should have, some good transportation. They shouldn't have to worry about medical bills or, how I'm going to get my medicine, how I'm going to get my glasses. Like, none of that. That's what
right.
that money is going to the church for. Because you have, like, when it comes down to like the politics of the church, you have like tithes and you have offering, and the tithes are for the pastor and the staff or whatever, but those offerings are for the people. They're not for the
Mhm.
pastor. So he does not touch the offerings unless he's touching it to give somebody else.
Right.
So if the church is paying, tithes, and then also you have this abundance of offerings that goes, completely somewhere else. Your tithes are for like the pastor, the musicians, or the functioning of the church. But those offerings is normally what pastors get audited for.
Hmm.
What we're doing with, that extra money. How many sets of
It
books do you
seems
have?
that's another question there. When these pastors are taking in money and there's supposed to be accountability. And the sad thing about this is that you have people who come to church and they go there
Hmm.
with real faith in God, real belief, and sometimes a charismatic preacher or religious
Yeah.
counselor can have sway over people and you believe in them. Now, I remember back in the day, because I'm young enough to remember this, I'm old enough to remember this, let me say. There was Jim Jones of the People's Temple Church.
Yeah.
And I want to say that my family, my mom and family members that I had when I lived in the Bay Area, we were about a couple inches away of being in that church.
Yeah.
And my mom said that she went there once and got an eerie vibe from the place
Right.
because that's
Right.
the guy, that's the pastor who led a lot of black folks, a lot of people in the San Francisco area to their
Yeah.
death when he took them out. And the reason why he left San Francisco is because he said he used the Bible to say, "Hey, the demons are after us. We got to leave this place." And
Right. Right.
he had people's deeds to their home. He had everything, and people believed in him. And the reason
Mhm.
why he made them drink the Kool-Aid, and that's where you get that saying where people say, "I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid," is
Right.
because the government was investigating him. They killed a congressman and the
Yep.
government was coming to shut it all down and shut it all down. And so Jim Jones said, "Hey, it's the time that I've been telling you." He primed these people.
Mhm.
They're coming for us, and we're going to be in a better place. And he had them drink the cyanide. He also would have sexual relations against their will with women, the husbands.
He had, what do you call it? The needles shooting up because the babies had to die, the children had to die, the adults had to die, even if they didn't want to.
Right,
If you didn't drink it, he had shooters on site that would shoot you down. I mean, like, it was ridiculous. And then him himself didn't even drink the Kool-Aid, so to speak. He was
right.
shot.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I think he either took his own life or something of that
yeah,
nature. But I bring that up. It's very personable to me because I've got friends that I grew up with who lost most of their whole family.
because
And then right, I had a friend in high school. He lost his whole family. His mother to this day, she's one of the lead spokes ladies every year when they have the anniversary. She was
yeah,
very heavily involved in the church, and she survived this
she,
situation. But all the other family members that went because she was skeptical about going, they lost. He only had his mother, a grandmother, and a uncle. And so it was a very devastating. And that can happen when you get lead by these kind of shalligans, right? And
right.
so on the one hand, you have the extreme of Jim Jones who leads people to their death. And then you have on the other
Hmm.
hand, preachers who they may not be killing you physically killing you, but they're killing you emotionally by robbing you of resources, lying to you, and what have you.
Most definitely. Sherry D says that nonprofits make good money, and most charities don't actually give money away to help people. It's a law privilege used for good. I bet a lot of money laundering goes on. Most definitely. That's why mega church pastors get audited most of the time, to make sure that everything is adding up. And yeah, they will create false charities and false profits to put that money aside, like Information Man, you were talking about, just in case things don't, go. That's where the money laundering goes in at. If like the charity, or like, say for instance, the scholarships, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like, they'll say, well, we'll put $1 million aside for a scholarship for a kid to go to college every year. There's going to be some money left over. You don't know how long they're going to pay for this person to go to college or whatever, but what happens to that money that's left in that account could go into the other account that was set up under a charity's name that actually is not a charity. So Sherry, you're absolutely correct. And how I know this is because my
Mm-hmm.
dad's a pastor, first
Mm-hmm.
lady, she's a preacher, or ordained minister. So when it comes to the politics of the church, you pretty much can't get anything past me.
Well,
So
let me.
just so you know,
This is something that I've
I don't
always
want
wanted.
nobody.
What's going on, Nappy Yankee? We got my man Nappy Yankee in the chat. Make sure y'all check out Nappy Yankee's program. He's a big supporter of my and Nappy Yankee. Do me a favor, brother. Subscribe to Twanna's channel. She's got a great channel. And Nappy Yankee, I got a new channel, brother. It's called Your News Shorts. Go over there and subscribe to that channel. What I do over there is a little bit different than what I do on the first channel. I do more of a news anchor reporting style, and I shorten my videos to about 20 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, where anytime something breaks in the news and I'm able to catch, I go live immediately and report on it just like a news anchor, but give a little bit of my perspective based on the facts of what's out there so far. So check that out. Let me say this. This is the question I got to ask you because you said, your father's a pastor. This is the thing, because churches are insulated. They're protected with that nonprofit status. But think about
Yeah,
it, when you're giving tidings, right? Tidings, right? And I
yes,
remember growing up and seeing people pass that basket around, right? And people put money in that basket. And I know it's supposed to go to the church, it's supposed to go to a good cause. I get it. But think about it. The IRS, because you're a church, you're insulated from the IRS stepping in and saying, oh, wait a minute now. You guys collected this much money today in the church. I'm here from Uncle Sam, and we need our slice of that firsthand. Churches are
right.
insulated from that, right? They can collect all this money, and it ain't like Uncle Sam's coming in and saying, wait a minute now. Let me put some pimping in this. Give me a little bit of slice of that money, and then you can take the rest of your time. They keep the whole tidings. Is that right or correct? I mean, wrong.
Yeah, Uncle Sam, they thrive when it comes to churches. They thrive on mega churches because the pastor will become famous, and then he will have businesses that are supposed to
Mhm.
be set in the church. The church is not supposed to fuel those businesses. So when you write a book, or you make a CD, or you make a movie, and this, that, and the third, it's supposed to be a
Mhm.
complete identity, but it's still the pastor. And then normally 50-50, because nowadays, pastors are building their own churches, but back in the day, the pastor didn't own the church. The cabinet owned the church. So nowadays, pastors are building their own churches. So
Mm.
whatever in your books,
Yeah.
who's gonna argue with you? Who's going to say that CD wasn't, made to, raise money for some charity in your 501c3 business?
Mhm.
There's always a way that you can get around something. But if it's done legally, yeah, the business is going to be over here. Even if you have like a fish fry at the church, the IRS is going to want to know what you did with the fish fry money. Did you put
Okay.
it in the auction? Did it go for, something good, or was that just to raise money so you could buy a new airplane? Like what, was
Yeah.
that money?
Yeah, because Cleflo Dollar, I can't say his name correct. He
Flow.
Cleflo, yeah, he had this audacity to put some pressure. See, this is the thing I don't like, Twanna, especially when it comes to black people. What
Mhm.
black leaders do is that, and I noticed this, you see it on YouTube, well-known people that we hear about on YouTube. What they do, man or woman, is to get something out of Black people in particular, they employ shaming techniques.
Yes.
So, for example, someone like Umar Johnson, who says he's going to build a school, that school ain't never going to happen. He'll say, well, I could have that school built if it wasn't for you lazy N's out here, you lazy N-words, right? So they do that. Or you have a guy like Creflo Dollar that will say, hey, I got a busted up jet. Y'all want me to be able to spread this word of God all around the world, don't you? Yeah. Well, I'm going to say they'll justify why they need the jet plane that costs all this money. And they'll shame Black people for not giving them enough money for it by throwing in there, I'm doing God's work.
This is the problem I have with that. Now, in the Bible, you've got the fivefold ministry. Pastors, that your overseer, that's a pastor, is the shepherd of a church, not 3 churches, not 5 churches. Now, if you're going to start building churches like that, you are an apostle. You're no longer a pastor. That's different, okay? Right. So Creflo doesn't need a jet to get to the other church because he's got to preach at noon, and get to the other church because he has to preach at 4, because now you're acting out of order. I have to commend some of the pastors on this, where you will appoint another pastor over those churches, even though it might be the same name, but you've got one in Dallas, and then you've got one over here and one over there, but you're not flying all over the place because you have somebody in position for that. But the pastors, they just have to oversee everything. I've got to fly over here. I was on the jet 5 times today, just in one day. Like, for what? I don't understand. Where's your crew? Who do you have in position over there? Why do you have to have, so many? I'm not. There's no way that those pastors know everybody in those churches. There's no way that when my mom gets sick, you're going to show up because you don't know who I am. You don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know, and it's probably, all kinds of strings attached. If I want to get married in the church or have a funeral in the church, it's just too much. Mega churches have never been my thing, mostly because of the politics, mostly because of the shadiness, and they're able to get away with stuff that smaller churches are not, because there are not so many eyes on you. Whereas in the smaller churches, I can come to your house and knock on the door, Pastor, what you doing? Got a minute? Need to talk to you. So if you got Sister Sonia, go back to the bedroom.
Right.
I'm just saying. So
let me ask you this. Wow.
Okay, back to the basics. I believe a pastor shouldn't beg for money. Do you trust the Lord or not, Pastor? Yep, I went there. Oh boy, here we go.
Well, let me just say this. I think there's a fine line. I think that we should support our churches that we're members of. We should support if the pastor in the church and the deacons and the whole, those that embody the committee that runs the church, if they are actually have the right intentions with the money, and you can see that, and they're legitimate. Because I think the pastors who cause us to lose faith in them, they make it bad for the pastors who are really trying to do the work. And this is what I mean. You've got pastors of small churches that are really doing the real work more than what the big churches are doing, but they don't have the budget of a big church. And these big evangelist type churches, or these big mega churches, prosperity gospel churches, they make it bad for the smaller pastors who have really great intentions, and they just need a little support, but they don't get it because these guys on the top of the mountain make the little guys at the bottom look real bad.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm going to address back to basics. I haven't forgot about you, but Information man, you brought up an important part. Okay, my dad is the pastor of a medium-sized church in the community. He's been there for years. And when he became pastor, he changed a few things. And he was like, if you don't like these changes, just tell me and I'll go somewhere else. But I cannot function under, the man-made mandate. Like, that's not what I'm here for. So I was like, go dad. Okay. So has the backing of some other bigger churches. For example, I have a cousin, his nephew, that lives in LA. Every year for anniversary or whatever, he sends a huge donation, not for dad, but to help out the church. And it's like, wow, that is so dope. Now he does get, when the pastor's anniversary and the first lady and they get stuff or whatever, and that's cute. But when somebody comes and they give like, an enormous amount of money to the church, I get to feed some people that are in the community that are hungry. We get to do a food drive. They did a yard sale. Everything in the yard sale was free. People were literally bringing stuff with tags still on the clothes and stuff like that. And I was like, that's amazing. You're able to get transportation for the church. So you could go pick up, people who are homebound or don't have a car and stuff like that. And so if that's the case, then I'm on board. But back to basics, I believe a pastor shouldn't beg for money. If you want me to leave your church service real quick, pick my purse up and go home. Doing this. Start talking about, well, I know you got $20. Everybody that's got a $20 bill in your hand, get up. If you ain't got $20, sit down. But if you got a $20 bill, come on and get up and put it in a collection plate. All you pastors that are sitting there, I know y'all got $100 bill, like, a church anniversary or something come up, and all the members, you have a whole year to get up $500. So every family or every person, if you're on the roll at church, then, you're supposed to give that amount. Well, what if you don't have that amount? What if you're struggling? Does that mean you get kicked out of the church? Does that mean, you're looked down upon because you didn't have all the money? Does that mean you can't come to the little celebration because you didn't have all the money? What does that mean? See, that right there, that'll get me to pick up my little purse and go on down the street and have church at my house by myself. I'm not here for it. So back to basics. I'm feeling that. And information man, great point, because I'm telling you, there are so many things. You get so wrapped up in the emotion and the preaching and all this kind of stuff. Meanwhile, the deacons in the back and the trustees in the back are doing shady business because the pastor is greasing their palms too.
Right.
Listen, don't act like it doesn't happen.
And you don't know you don't know at that point who you can really trust at that point.
He said, I'm talking about sow your seed, pastor. Sow your seed. And that's what it is, the seed of whatever for the anniversary and the seed of whatever for, the church harvest and, whatever other church events that they make up, and I'm just here for it, period. If you want to, and I mean, to be honest with you, and this is an unpopular opinion, and I know I'm going to get some shade for it, but this is my channel, so I can say what I want to say. Honey, we're under the new covenant. If you're a Christian, we're not in the Old Testament anymore. We're in the New Testament. Didn't Jesus say to be a cheerful giver? Just giver. So whatever you want to give is your business.
So are people, is it correct to say that people are living under, people are still living under an Old Testament ideology?
Yeah. Because
bringing it into modern time.
I don't trust you as a member to give more or, give what you have because the lights might be cut off or we may not have a phone or Wi-Fi at the church. I might not get, paid as a pastor. So this right here means that if you give me the 10% off the top, that's guaranteed that we're going to stay in business. And that is not biblical, period. Then you can go back and tell your pastor, I said so, but it's not. That's not biblical. We're not under old law anymore. This is the girl. These people talking, we live in the last days. We live in the last day. If that's the truth, we already in the book of Revelations. And what is you doing with your money? nobody finna tell me how to spend my money. If God gave me this job and he gave me, the ability to make this money, and he's saying, hey, all I want you to do is be a cheerful giver. I want you to be good to the children. I want you to help, the homeless. I want you to help the widowers, which the Bible says in the New Testament is the only good, true religion. Am I preaching? So then I need you to do that. But ain't no such that, like, you trying to guarantee something, but then you'll turn around and say, oh, well, I believe and trust in the Lord. Well, then believe and trust in the Lord that your brick and mortar church is going to be okay with the cheerful giver that you put on the road.
Yeah, you're
Why
right
are you
about
policing money?
that. Right.
It's just my opinion.
Right. But I think that's a problem because people that I've run into over the years of my life who sort of fell out with, how can I say this? I don't think a belief in God is the issue here. I think people should
No.
believe in something that you should. I think spirituality is important, but I think the institution of church. See, people
Mm-hmm.
they don't understand that the people encompass it all in one. I don't think the church always, when they act like this, represent really what the belief in God is supposed to be about. So sometimes people will be in a church and they are betrayed by a pastor, right? You hear about pastors sleeping with people's wives, right? You've got, who's that pastor out of Baltimore? His wife is on the you know what I'm talking about. He got a what's that pastor? His wife or his ex-wife is on the Potomac, that reality show. Jamal.
Jamal.
He has a habitual history of messing around with the women in his congregation. I think he even got one of them pregnant, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that's why his wife, that's in that Potomac program on TV, I think that's why she left his butt. And he's a perfect example where you have these preachers sleeping with their congregation. And then what happens is it causes people to lose their faith because they associate the church with a belief in God. No, I'm going to say something that's going to be controversial here. I don't think that a church can represent God, but the church is not God. So if you're in church and the preacher has disappointed you, and the members in that congregation disappointed you, it is not God that has turned his back on you. It is the people, humans, who are what?
Mm-hmm.
What does it tell you? Humans are egotistic, frail.
Yep.
We are slaves to the flesh. So it is it's not God. It's the institution of humans that are running the religious temples.
So my thing with that whole, information, man, is how you can twist the Bible around to fit what you need the people to hear. That right there is something else that'll you'll never see me again. If you said, because it's like, here's the thing, you have to know the Bible. You don't have to memorize all this stuff or whatever, but at least know where to go, so that you have a clear understanding. Never let somebody in the pulpit tell you what the Bible means without going to check on it for yourself, because you might have some questions. I heard such and such, but the Bible says this, that, and that. And then just taking that little sentence, that little verse is not enough. I need to know what the whole chapter says. I need to know what it's talking about. So then you have to take time to get to read that for yourself, which means you're spending time with God. And when you spend more time with God and less time with the human that's up there preaching, you might find out some things are a little shady.
I definitely agree with that.
I'm just saying. I love, a pastor and the good show they put on and the hooping and the hollering, and it's very entertaining. But at the end of the day, if I am a new Christian and I want to know about the Bible, the show you put on Sunday morning is not going to help me enter the kingdom of God. If I'm trying to make it to heaven because I don't want to be hell bound, and that's my belief, and I want to be a good person and all of that, the show that you put on Sunday mornings is really not going to help me. I need for pastors to really teach the congregation and forget about the theatrics and forget about the show and forget about the 10% and really begin to teach these people, because as a shepherd, our blood is on your hands. If we die and go to hell, you misled us.
Right. Right. Right.
I mean, but you got rich. But I mean, when you die, you ain't gonna be able to put all that money in the casket with you, but at least you got rich. You got your riches on earth. So are you gonna get your riches in heaven too?
Well, let me ask you this question. Has the type of individual who goes into the life of being a preacher, a pastor, a man, a woman of God, has the dynamics of that individual changed compared to your father and pastors of years past? Has there always been scandals? Yes, there have. This is what
Yes.
this is what I mean. You have people who have criminal backgrounds. They go to jail, they go to prison. They did horrible things.
Right.
Like a Kwame Kilpatrick, who was once mayor of Detroit, and he was once promising. They were everything. They were every snake under the snake when they were out there running the streets. They go to prison, they reform themselves, they come out, and they realize they become religious.
Yeah.
Some would say that people of this background, not all, but some, they figure out very quickly, because they were very slick individuals when they were living the street life. They realized very quickly, I could use religion as another one of my hustles.
Yeah.
And I can do this hustle without being seen as a pimp or a drug dealer. It's a state of life that will give me some honor, but I can still run the same game I ran when I was a pimp. So now you have what they would call, as much as I hate to say this, and I've talked about this on my program before, do you have pimps in the pulpit in today's society? Have pimps taken over the pulpit?
Y'all trying to pimp Jesus. Don't play. Y'all, you trying to pimp him out so you can get, make sure you got your suits and your cars, and, make sure you have your status, and you want to brainwash everybody sitting on those pews because you need the stuff to keep up with the status. You know what I'm saying? And I've learned over the years that some of the best preachers, some of the best teachers, the best prophets don't even, they might be rich, but you'll never know it looking on the street, because they shopping at Walmart with us. They got on a t-shirt and jeans with us. They're not above us. They're not like, oh, we have to, he sits up here and we're down here. Nobody does that but God. So you're no better than me. Pay me respect, I'll pay you respect. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it irks me that I'm supposed to look up to you because you preach in that pulpit every Sunday. I commend you for the work that you do, but we are all humans and we have different jobs to do. So where I may be a teacher and you may be, a pastor, stay in your lane.
Right.
You don't need to be the pastor and the deacon and the trustee and, the usher, and no, you need to stay in your lane, and you need to trust that. And that's the whole thing. It's a trust issue. It's like, I don't know if you understand this, but it's almost like I believe in the word of God, but I have some disbelief there. I just can't trust that this is going to get done. So what you're saying is people are going to come to your church and, you're going to use discernment, or you're supposed to where these people are to be served. And when you pray and you ask God and you get an answer, you're still not sure. You don't have to brainwash anybody. You don't have to interrogate people. You don't have to, give them a false illusion or whatever, for them to do right and for them to take a position or whatever. You know where you belong. And if you don't, then it's up to the pastor. It's his job to sit down and talk to you and pray with you, so you can get direction. But instead of doing that, you're trying to get direction to the nearest car dealership because you need the latest Cadillac.
Right. And I know the Bible talks about worshiping items, physical possessions and things like worshiping or looking up to things like, statues and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Um I just think that I brought that point up because I think it is a issue, because when I look at I feel that the preachers today, if they haven't always been, I think it's a different type of preacher out here, because you have
Yeah.
people are being we live in a world of gluttony in America where we can have everything. You look at a guy like
Oh,
Kwame Kilpatrick, who had everything as mayor. He tried to get out of that situation. He went to jail. He comes out of jail, and now he becomes this religious man. So
right.
now he can take the same hustle he had as a politician and put it into his hustle as a preacher. Now, there's some that will say, hey, he's changed his life. Give him a chance. I give you another example. Who's that guy? Somebody in the chat room, help me. You've got the guy that's been talked about all over YouTube. You got the guy who had that Tulsa, Oklahoma investment scam.
Oh
What's
God.
his name? He's from Atlanta. Well, there's this guy. I can't think of his name.
What is his name?
People have talked about him on YouTube about scam.
George.
The
What's
right.
his
The
name?
the NFL told NFL players not to invest in his Tulsa, Oklahoma,
Right. It's a
because
scam.
it was a scam. And then there were several people demanding, saying that he cheated them out of money. He cheated out some NFL players and what have you. Well, this was a guy who's well known on YouTube because people have done critiques about his scamming. Well, anyway, he was pushing this whole Tulsa, Oklahoma investment, and he was giving you all look. He wanted people to think that he had all this money and luxury. Come to find out, everything that he had wasn't all real. He was using
Right.
your money to give himself
Yes.
this lifestyle,
Yes.
right? Well, then he
Mm-hmm.
got in trouble. He got busted. He got exposed as being a scam artist with this Tulsa, Oklahoma. People were asking for their money. And guess what he did? He now has transformed him, and he has a YouTube channel. He's still on YouTube. He has transformed himself into a preacher. Now, Nappy Yankee, you know who I'm talking about. Give me the name, because you have talked about him on your channel.
Morris.
Who is that guy, Nappy
Jay
Yankee? Jamie Morris.
Is that it?
Is it
Jay
Morris?
Morrison.
Yeah, Jay Morris. Thank
Morris.
you, Nappy Yankee. Jay
Thank
Morris
you.
has been pushing this real estate con for a long
Yeah.
time. And then the NFL caught up to him and said, hey, you didn't ripped off a couple of our players. And the NFL said,
Yeah.
don't invest with this man. Now, I think there's a brother by the name of Pocket Watch TV. He got a YouTube channel. He talks about these scams artists, that he talks about this stuff. And he did a whole expose about this guy. He tries to make up excuses for everything that he did to rip people off. It's always an excuse, right?
Right.
Well, now he's turned preacher. He's the same person, but because now he's become this preacher guru man. And I'm saying to myself, why would anybody in their right mind put their faith in Jay Morrison, who was ripping people off with his real estate scams? Why would you want to believe in him as a pastor?
I'm saying that's crazy.
Because he doesn't have a very
off,
good track record. I know people can change.
Yeah.
I know people. I mean, Malcolm X, he was a hustler. He changed his lifestyle. But
Yeah.
Jay Morrison, even as a preacher, he talks like a con artist.
Listen, the label of a pastor does not make you look good. There have been many shady pastors, all over. So because you take that label on, does not make you, any better. So, oh, that's a pastor. Don't talk bad about them. Like, you do bad stuff. You're still human. I don't understand why you feel like when you put on the label of a pastor, all of a sudden you have a Superman suit on. Like, it doesn't work like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I also feel like churches can really get confused, or like the cabinets of churches can really get confused with this word religion. The Bible in the New Testament clearly states what a religion is. And we talked about that earlier, about helping people. Don't let these children be hurt, and don't let these widowers go out here hungry. That is the only religion. That is the real true religion right there. It's an action. It's like, if you love me, you will act upon that. You have a passion for it. So I love it. So I'm going to do right. It's an action. Okay. A lifestyle is what you do every day. Like when you say, I need to change my diet because I'm so unhealthy, and
Yeah.
I need a whole lifestyle change. Well, when you take on, that Christianity, that's what that is. According to the new covenant, it is not a religion. So if you're living your lifestyle based upon a religion, you're minimizing yourself, you're limiting God, and you're literally looking at this pastor like he's God. But when you take on the lifestyle, you understand what the word means, and your life begins to transform, not your actions. Your whole entire life is not isolated. And when the IRS and the government puts Christianity in the box of religion, then it becomes a whole big ordeal. And, you get all this stuff, misconstrued, when the Bible has already said that we are set apart. We're particular people. So I don't really care what the government calls it. I don't care what the IRS calls it. At the end of the day, they can't stop me from praying. They can't stop me from worshiping. They can't stop me from believing.
That's true.
If
That's
that's
right.
what I want to do, that's what I'm going to do with my life. That is my lifestyle. That is my daily lifestyle. I don't have time for the bull, because I've got to believe in this, because my bills got to get paid. My children have to be protected. I got a marriage that I might be on the brink of divorce. I gotta have something. And the pastor's not always going to be there, because he's just one person. So he can only do one thing at a time. And honey, if he's not even paying attention to the church, he ain't paying attention to you. Your eyes are on the wrong thing. Your eyes are on the wrong person. Your mind is like, Jim Jones. You've been Jim Jones. You're living in a modern day Jonestown.
Right. Well, let me ask you this question. Do we as people, because we like personalities, do we get caught up in person? Is that really what leads us to follow a wolf in sheep clothing? Is that we get caught up in personalities, and we tend to like charismatic personalities? I got to bring this example up. We got Umar Johnson running around saying he wants to build a school, and he's still stuck on this AVAX that he wants to. The man has taken money that has been donated to him.
Right.
He's been collecting money since 2009. I talked about this on my channel. Nappy Yankee talks about this on his channel. And we're still on this system of AVAC. He's supposed to be getting this air conditioning system. Dude, we're getting ready to go into 2022, and you still on air conditioning. You ain't even got the buildings really fixed up right. And people give him money because he is a charismatic figure. He talks, he repeats 3 times. He'll say things like, hit your cash app, hit your cash app. Here come the 3rd time. You got to hit your cash app. Brothers and sisters, they use highfalutin phrases like brothers and sisters. Today, we could have had the AVAX. Do you know this man told everybody that the AVAX was coming on a certain day? Then he turned around and said, oh, well, I got to go somewhere else. He went to a social gathering, end up saying he's going to give the AVAX back to the people that's going to deliver it. It's like, wait a minute. These are stall tactics, man. What are you doing? Then he's on camera talking about how he wants 3 and 4 wives. I'm looking for wives, plural. I mean, what are you talking? See, people still support him because they like his charismatic attitude. I think that we as a people, we have charismatic disease. We have personality disorder, meaning we have a disorder we have a we are so inept to enjoy personality figures. That's a problem.
Listen, Aesop said, I'd rather have only one wife. Well, in the New Testament, the Bible does say that you will have one wife and that woman shall have one husband. Okay. So, if you want to be on sister wives, then going back to the Old Testament and, frolic and all that kind of stuff. I believe it was right after Sodom and Gomorrah got burned down. Yeah, do that and see how that works out for you. But Amanda, hi, folk are gullible. Listen, let me tell you about being gullible. When I was growing up, my family was Baptist, and that was their covenant. That was their doctrine. Excuse me. That they were under the Baptist, and I, at a young age, started singing in the church. My mom wanted to keep me out of the streets or whatever, and so she got me involved in the singing and music and stuff like that. And I got inducted into the Muscle Shoals Gospel Chorale and a couple of other church, not churches, but choirs, traveling choirs. And my dad used to tell me, stop going around these churches or whatever. When you go in there, protect yourself because this stuff ain't real and blah, 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 blah. And I was very curious because I had only seen a Baptist church function. So now that I'm singing all these other people, and I'm singing Kojic, and I'm singing Apostolic, and I'm singing Pentecostal, and all this stuff, and I'm like, this is so very different. Then you have this thing inside of you that'll be like, this ain't the place to be, right. And then sometimes you feel comfortable, but when you're young and you're new, because to be honest with you, when they started asking me to sing at these places, I don't even think I had been baptized. I think I had, but I was so young, I didn't know what was up or whatever. So, that didn't count. And I'm running around here and I'm finding out this, that, and the third, but I'm watching. Okay. I am watching these pastors wink at these men. Now I'm young. But now I know you was on the down low. I'm watching the pastor, hit that little elbow to shoulder move, on the special woman in the congregation that always sits on the other front row. The first lady's over, but the other first lady that you ain't supposed to know about is sitting over there. And she's got kids that are the pastors, but we ain't supposed to talk about that. And I'm watching in certain churches, like the Pentecostal churches, you got these little Christians running around here all over the place, but ain't none of them married. And I'm watching this stuff. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to tell, a 16-year-old that something ain't right. When I see you out and about and you were a deacon at the church on Sunday morning and you couldn't wait to get drunk Monday afternoon, I am not an idiot. And you can't tell me because you hold a position in the church that you can do whatever you want to do. You cannot, because you are just as human as we are. So you have to keep your eyes open. You have to look at this stuff. I did an expose on false prophet Joshua Holmes years ago, and it blew up. It went viral. That's pretty much what set me on the YouTube trail, was that expose. And I have 3 or 4 videos of it. And I really believed this guy. Like, I totally believed this guy, because when I saw him on Periscope, he was really preaching good. And I was like, this guy is so young to be so seasoned. And then as I keep, listening and listening and listening, it's all about money. And week after week, he's more flashy and he has more jewelry. And then he got an ultra perm. And then the suit started. Where you get this money from? You ain't got, it's a virtual pastor. You ain't, where you getting this money from? False prophet Joshua Holmes. And then I ran across this video by myself. Nobody sent it to me. His wife jumped on him, and the video ended up on YouTube. And I mean, when I tell you, she smacked the fire from his face. He was black, but then after she smacked him, he was purple, like for real. And she was cussing him out. And she said she completely lost who she was because she was tired of being abused by this guy and being lied to. And so now she's got a new wife. And Periscope is shut down. Y'all know Periscope is no more. So he's trying, the YouTube thing out, and it's not going real well for him because, all us over here on YouTube, we're not stupid. Okay. You're not going to find the crowd is different over here than it was on Periscope.
And I think the crowd on YouTube, the crowd in YouTube is more seasoned to understanding how scam artists work.
That's why Periscope didn't last long. That's why Periscope didn't last long, and that's why YouTube is rocking over here. So he's struggling a little bit. So now he's gone back to Facebook running the same little scam or whatever. And all he talks about is money. And I was looking at some videos or whatever because I said, I need to find out who this was. Larry Reed Live did a story about him, and he was on the TBN network once, and they took it down because the sex scandal hit. And when I tell you, it was a blogger that sent me the link. And this man literally sat his stuff up to film himself with the women of his little church. And when I tell y'all when I tell y'all, if you've never watched porn,
he was getting it in.
Baby, I said, what is going on? And these women started popping up on Instagram talking about, you leave him alone. He's Jesus in the flesh. He can do what he wants. And the next thing I knew, these women started changing their last name online. So now everybody who's attached to false prophet Joshua Holmes has the last name Holmes. You're running it. It's a virtual cult. How do you look, I don't know how. I hear what y'all are saying in the audience about people are gullible, but you got to be stone cold stupid to change your last name to some dude that was just caught up in a sex scandal. And look, his wife was not a part of it. I don't know. These women are the same women that would have the prayer shawl when he would go, and be on tour, and he laying hands, jumping around like Ernest, and he'd take his coat and wave it, and the whole crowd will fall out and all that. These are the same women that cover you up and with the prayer shawl, getting it in on the sex tape.
Are you serious? And putting
and y'all just throwing money. He up there preaching and sliding across the stage like Michael Jackson, and people just throwing hundreds. They just making it rain in the church. Be ashamed of yourself. Be ashamed. You just mock God like that and the sanctity of Christianity. And that's why people don't take us serious. People don't take Christianity seriously anymore because of stupid stuff like this.
Isn't that
we get laughed at?
I was going to say, let's just be honest. People bring their dysfunctions any and everywhere that they are. We see it here on YouTube. People bring their dysfunctions to YouTube. They get into the beefing, the back and forth, and it gives you an insight into who they probably are off of these platforms. People when people go to a church or any kind of religious temple, you are going to bring all of your garbage with you into that setting around other people.
Yeah.
Unless you are a person, and they're out there, unless you are a person that can really cleanse yourself of some of those things.
Exactly.
But I think it's difficult because we are imperfect. Jealousy and envy. When you look at Cain and Abel, jealousy and envy it can be the death of us as a people. We hate to see people have success because we're miserable with ourselves sometimes.
And when you start talking about the false prophets and stuff like that, they really don't. I hear you, Nappy. You can't mock something that you don't believe in. I'm not going to say that Joshua does not believe in it, but I think he's found a good racket and he's not willing to let it go. Back to basic, spirituality is an individual journey. You're right. And this is why I'm so hard on these so-called pastors, because you're not teaching people how to study. You're telling them. They're not your children. You can't order them to take out the garbage and whatnot. You're supposed to be teaching them how to study the Bible. You're supposed to be answering questions, and you're supposed to be guiding them in the right direction. But when you get up in the pulpit and you got your little handkerchief and you spitting all over the microphone and you doing your little shit and all this kind of stuff, nobody understands what you mean. If I've never been to the church before, I'm going to get caught up in the emotion. But it's not the emotion that's going to get you in. You've got to spend time with the man, and it ain't the pastor. And shame on every pastor out there. Shame on you for taking Christianity and turning it into a mockery for your own benefit, for self-gain. Shame on you.
Is it true to say that this kind of behavior by some pastors heavily contributes to people A, leaving the church that are religious, and B, people who become what we would call atheists? Because there are people that are atheists for a reason. They didn't just win, they just wasn't born to be atheists. They might have had some experience that they did not like. Maybe they felt God wasn't there for them in their time of need. But there are also people who turn atheists because they were in church heavy and they had bad experiences with the pastor and those in the church who ultimately they saw them as hypocrites, and it turned them off, and they said, you know what, this is not real,
That's,
does not exist.
yep. Your actions weigh heavily when somebody is in need of something to believe in because they've hit rock bottom. Your actions can bring people in or shun people and push them out. JJ, I have no idea what you're talking about, but she said, oh my God, leave him alone. If that man had an STD, they wouldn't be talking in same tune. They holler, cuss, and beat up dude who have been spread STD instead of word of God. I don't know what that means. I'm not sure. Information man, can you help me dissect that?
Oh
I'm not
my
sure what
God,
she's
leave him
saying.
alone. If that man had an STD, now what man is she talking about?
No,
If that
but
man
I
had
mean,
an STD, they would not be talking in same term. They holy cussing and beat up dude who have been spreading STD. So basically, I think what she's trying to say is that if this individual didn't have something horrible like an STD and he was just clean and none of that type of drama, then those same people would still be loving on him. I think that's what JJ is saying.
Joshua, because I didn't know Joshua had an STD, although I wouldn't doubt it because in the tape, I didn't see any use of a condom. I just saw him setting up his camera and getting it in. So,
Oh
you
my
know, that's what
God.
I'm talking about. Yeah, but hey, Lady T. Hey, everybody who I didn't speak to. I'm so sorry. But I don't know, you guys. Like, I don't know if he ever had an STD. I stopped with the tape when him getting it in or whatever, and there were 2 different clips and 3 or 4 different women. I was done with it, and I did my last story on it, and I was done because I can't justify that. I can't explain that away. It was right there in black and white, in living color, if you will. So I apologize to everybody. I was like, listen, I'm sorry. I didn't know this guy was doing all this behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll never, say, oh my God, you should take a look at this guy because he's really preaching the word. Never do it again, because you could be preaching the word in the pulpit and, sipping on some Crown Royal in the pastor study. I don't know. I don't know your life. I don't know what you do. You know what I'm saying? I am not obligated by the Bible to what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not obligated by the Bible and by God to offer up, this pastor and that pastor. Of the Bible says that I'm to offer up Jesus.
Mm,
So
mm.
for that, I had to apologize to my peeps. I was like, look, I will never influence you to, listen to anybody ever again. I don't care who it is, because I don't know your life behind the scenes. And I had to learn that lesson. And you don't know. You don't know. I mean, you could have been in this church for 25 years and every kid in that church could be the pastors. You don't know. If you don't know, you can't put all of your belief and faith and trust in a dude in a suit just because he preaches, and prays for you on Sunday morning.
Right.
That's
But see, that's a
that
lesson that people should be aware of already, because we know that as humans that we are not perfect. We have a lot of faults, and because of our imperfectality, we're going to make a lot of mistakes. So therefore, when you believe in someone and they have shown themselves not to be who they say they are, you really should
exactly.
not be surprised.
when you put your expectations on people, like when you put your faith in people, you're gonna get let down because they can't do everything. They let God do his job. You don't try to do his job. You don't listen. You take direction from God. God doesn't take direction from you. So get that situated, get that straight from the jump.
Right.
And then act accordingly. You know what I'm saying? Like I hate it for people who just worship these pastors and stuff. Like, oh my God, they can do no wrong. When that's totally stupid. They're human, just like the rest of us. Get a grip. Listen, let's look at this. Show the cheat sheet. I got a cheat sheet, right? Somebody asked a question about how much money these people have. Okay. Joyce Meyer, number 10 on the list. Her net worth is $8 million. Everybody knows who Joyce Meyer is. She's been preaching for years. At this point, she's 77 years old, travels to public speaking engagements on her private jet. Okay. Number 9, Franklin Graham. I don't know who Franklin Graham is. His net worth is $10 million.
Wow.
Hey, listen, although Franklin Graham is an evangelist and son of well-known, Billy Graham. It's Billy Graham's son. Okay. I didn't know that, but that's he's worth $10 million. Okay.
$10 million.
And he's the younger Graham, 68 years old, came under criticism for calling Islam a very evil and wicked religion. So that was their scandal or whatever. And it seems that scandal even made them more money. Number 8, TD Jakes. TD Jakes is worth $20 million.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this question.
Woo!
Are these preachers like TJ Jakes, and I've always been a critic of him, is he simply making the money because that's what he's making as his payment as a preacher of the church? Or is it because TJ Jakes has made a lot of money in the church and he's made good investments? Is it because he's taken his money and he's made great investments? Or is it that
he's got stuff? He's got CDs. He's got movies. I didn't even know he was a movie producer. He acts in movies. He's got music with people, and he's not a singer, but he's got that commanding voice. And so he does voice, spots in, if you're a gospel choir or something like that, you probably have heard TD Jakes' voice, in some of that stuff.
And then he writes to me that he's got himself. It seems to me, I've always been skeptical of these type of characters who always have something to sell you. They have a CD to sell you. They got a book to sell you. I know he's produced a few movies and what have you. So when you start accumulating this kind of, you can make the argument that, okay, TJ Jakes has accumulated this money and wealth from being this mega church pastor. And you can make a inference that, okay, maybe he's taken some of his money that he's gotten from the people and he's made also good investments with the money. Because sometimes, there's all kind of ways that you can get money, but it's what you do with that money.
A few years ago, TD Jakes was sat down for an interview and something happened. It was before the pandemic, but something happened, and because I was in Texas at the time, I was in Houston, Texas, and people lost a lot of money in stock. And that's how I found out that he, invests in different stocks and stuff like that. But Lady T Speaks has a question. Does he get salary from the church? According to this interview, he stopped in 2009. He commits that money to, he has 3 churches. So all his staff and stuff like that, and the other pastors get money. He pays them or whatever because he's a business owner. So his business is TD Jakes something, but the net worth at the $20 million according to the interview, the last time they checked, that was in 2012, and it's 2021 now. So it's probably doubled because every one of his books, according to the article, is best-selling. And his last movie that he co-produced was something that came out last year. So according to his testimony in this article, he gave up his salary because he doesn't need it, to be honest with you. So I
Well,
mean,
because that's why I was saying he has taken
yeah, it's
this
not gonna.
money. He's making investments. Now, this is another thing I want to ask, because this is how they scam people too. Does he have a foundation? A lot of people come up with
Whoa,
these foundations, and foundations can be manipulated as well. They have
I'm not
been.
sure. If he has a foundation, you can definitely go to his
I wouldn't be
website.
surprised if he has one.
Yeah, I do know he has a scholarship program, and every year they have like this little, it looks like an award ceremony in the red carpet, and they have like the 3 students or whatever, and they get to go to college and study, whatever they want, and they get the free laptop and this, that, and the third. So I know about that, but I've never really been so interested that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I guess I just lost interest. Not like talking about TD Jakes in particular, but the whole, array of mess. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I used to like, ooh, I would watch Noel Jones and TD Jakes and Juanita Bynum, and I would just soak it in or whatever. And it just kind of wore off of me. Like, I don't watch them anymore. Not because I have anything against them, but it's just, to me, it's more fulfilling to just sit and read the Bible myself, or just like listen to, an MP3 or whatever of the Bible, like what I want to listen. It's just more edifying to me, as an individual, as a person or whatever. So I have not like really, and some of these people on the list, I don't even know. Like Rick Warren, I don't know him, but his net worth is $25 million. I don't know this dude from a can of paint, but his church is Lake Forest in Lake Forest, California, and he has 20,000 attendees a service. So that
20,000.
means a service per service. So you've got 3 services on Sunday, and you've got 2 Bible studies on Wednesday.
So how much
And then
money
you
is being
have
collected between that time? Woo! He's probably raking in the money.
every service. Yeah,
God.
and then you've got the school. He has a school that is attached to the church. His church is not as big as Joel Osteen's, but it's right up there with the basketball court and
Right.
all of the things.
But with that nonprofit
Billy Graham,
status that they get, see,
yeah,
it's easy to be able to run the scam and the games because you've got the government in your back pocket, because the government has created a
right,
way for you to manipulate
yeah,
with the money that you have to report to them. Wow. And if you get someone who
yeah.
has
The
ill character, they
government,
can really rake it up.
yeah, they know that they're going to get their money from a mega church or a big pastor. They don't really come after the smaller churches because they don't really, you know what I'm saying? It's just a neighborhood church. We just want to go worship, and we're more community based. Whereas a mega church, the IRS is going to get a chunk of change every year, whether they are manipulating the books or not. They're going to get something. And then if they think anything is shady going on,
And I would expect that someone like TJ Jakes is probably, he's got to be paying a grip of money for taxes, because if he's got his hands in all sort of ventures, they definitely are all over
yeah,
him.
yeah.
At least in
So
the
because
money
he's
that
not an
they
employee.
can find. Now this is the question.
I hope
Here comes the scandalous question though. I wonder if TJ Jakes got a secret stash house too.
that in church wall. I bet you that if he does. But here's your boy information man, Creflo Dollar.
Uh-oh.
27 million net worth.
27
Why, man?
million? Wow.
27 million.
Million.
I mean,
And he's telling, wait a minute, he's worth $27 million, and he's sitting up there shaming his congregation to buy him a new jet. And you probably got people in his congregation that's struggling to put gas in their car to get from work to home.
Yep. Now, according to the report, Creflo Dollar and his ministry ran into considerable backlash in 2015 when they planned to purchase a private jet estimated to cost around $65 million, but the ministry made plans to go ahead with the purchase anyway. We plan to acquire a Gulfstream G650 because it is the best, and it is a reflection of the level of excellence at which this organization chooses to operate. World Changers Church International said in a statement reported by the Washington Post, as the Atlantic recently reported that action earned the joyful discernment of President Trump. He was all for it. They're all hustlers, Trump told his then or now attorney, personal attorney, Michael Cohen. So before Creflo and how do you become friends with Trump? But anyway, after that, Trump was like, and this, I don't know if Trump was about to get fired out of the White House or not, but I remember Trump going to the black churches and getting prayed for and all that kind of stuff. And then at the end of the day, he was like, they're all hustlers. So,
well, remember, you had 100. Remember when he ran, you had 100 black preachers that showed up, and showed out, and then there was that the photo op where they were all huddled around him. I actually hated that picture, and they all put their hands on him and prayed on him as if he was Jesus in a suit.
Listen,
I never liked that. I really despise what they did like that, because you should not worship people in that way. The Bible talks about that, right? If you see, this is the thing that kills me. People who are Christian, they will use the Bible to tell people who are either not Christian or who don't believe in God, all those things. But then they themselves are doing everything that the Bible says that you should not be doing. That is, you don't worship individuals that are not godly people. And there's nothing godly about Donald Trump whatsoever.
There's nothing.
With his damn history, with the Central Park 5, oh my God, no.
Listen, this is my mom's man. Boy, my mom used to love watching this guy, Benny Hinn. You'll never guess his net worth as of today, 2021, in December 2021, the Honorable Benny Hinn is worth $60 million. How?
Wow.
How? He's an Israeli-born televangelist. He still travels all over the world. He founded Orlando Christian Center Church in 1983. So he's been functioning for quite some time. The Senate Finance Committee investigated Benny Hinn and 5 other televangelists in 2007, which is what I was talking about when we first started about the audits and stuff like that. And after several years, Benny Hinn and the other pastors were cleared of wrongdoing. Benny Hinn's net worth is reported right now at $60 million. Okay, so it sounds to me that they didn't write this in the article. I'm just saying, to me, it sounds like somebody's palm got greased. It sounds like somebody got paid off or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because you ain't gonna be investigated like that, and you're talking about money, and then turn around and all of a sudden y'all didn't even go to court. They didn't even go to court or anything. They just got dismissed.
Right.
Right. How is that even possible?
What a world we live in, huh? What a world.
Listen, child, Joel Osteen. Y'all ain't gonna believe this. I could just die right now. I literally could just fall out and melt into the floor. This man is worth $100 million. I'm done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
$100 million? Joel Osteen? Oh, Lord Jesus. In 1999, Joel Osteen, now he's 57 years old, inherited the church and its television ministry from his late father, John Osteen. So this man has never been broke a day in his life. He doesn't know anything about struggle. He was just, here's the fortune, son. I'm going home to glory. And there you have it. There's really no backstory. Joel Osteen doesn't have a, from struggle to riches, backstory. So far as I'm looking in here, I don't think he's ever been audited. Never been a question about anything in particular except for his extravagant lifestyle. He's always been questioned about his extravagant lifestyle. Now, his speaking engagements, the books, the shows, the radio sales, the book sales generate $55 million a year. And him and his wife, Victoria, say that is what they live on.
Wow.
His house is worth $10.5 million. It is considered a mansion in the Houston suburbs. And so I am to assume that he doesn't take a salary from the church as well. At this point, you own the church though, dude. Like, you own the church. This is what I was talking about earlier. He owns the church. Amanda, I don't know what shows. I've never been a Joel Osteen, fan. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not really sure. But you know what? We have a church here in Information Man. You're probably familiar with this, being in Atlanta. They put on shows at the church for the kids, like for Christmas and for Thanksgiving, and they do the message of the cross for Christmas, and they have 5 shows sold out at the church, and it's a big old giant production. A lot of churches do stuff like that. So it could be, because we have our mega church in Decatur, Alabama, has a ballet and dance company, and they do the same stuff. So, that's the only show that I could think of they could be talking about. I mean, do you know, Information Man, anything about that? Yeah, about the skits. Yeah, it could be.
I'm not sure. Let me see. Joel Osteen inherited that church from his daddy, and
Yeah, he did.
he just took it to another level. He does not
Yeah,
take a salary.
right.
Okay,
That's
but
what the art. Yeah,
then what? He doesn't take any money currently, according to
yeah. He
what we
doesn't.
think we know. We see there's what we think we know, and there's what we don't know. What we
Yeah,
do know right now, because the feds are going to step into it, is that there was hidden money behind a wall. Now, people out there who are
right.
probably Joe Osteen fans are going to say, well, that probably is money that's been there before, he had control of the church. Maybe his daddy put that money
Yeah,
there. I don't believe that. I don't believe
but
that.
the police said that there was a robbery in 2014, and
Right. So it's way after his father.
so checks and the cash were in the envelopes, the church envelopes that you put in the when you go
Right.
around and put offerings stuff. Okay, so when
But
they opened up the envelopes, some of them had checks in it, and they assumed that it was about the 2014 robbery because of the dates on the checks. So
right.
for me,
And if it's
if
cash, they can look at the serial numbers and tell how old that cash is based on the serial numbers. I don't
if
think it
that
has anything to do with his daddy. It's
I,
him.
if that's true, it had to be an inside job. Somebody inside the church had to have robbed the church, or was trying to. And
Who would have
need.
the strongest access to being able to do that? As you understand, who would have access when we look at a church organizational structure? How
Yeah,
could that happen if it's not the preacher? How could it happen?
easy. You have a cabinet, and your cabinet consists of your trustees and your deacons. Normally, the trustees count the money and put the money in the safe, takes it to the bank. They do like a tag team, so you don't get robbed or whatever. And you take that money to the bank, and it is accounted for, and then you get your slip, you bring it back to the church, and you add it to the books and to the safe. Now, if you are in charge as a deacon or a trustee to fulfill those obligations, the money is in your hands. And if it comes up missing, you would be the first person I would question.
Mm-hmm.
So, if that person would have to happen to be in cahoots with somebody like the pastor, just saying, hypothetically speaking.
Mm-mm-mm-mm. We just got too much going on, don't we? Every time you turn around, there's something going on.
He don't, as of 2017, Joel Osteen does not take a salary.
Okay.
All right. Pat Robertson, 100 million. Pat Robertson. He does have a lot of stuff, TV network and all that kind of stuff. It does not say whether he takes the salary or not. He was a former Marine. He also ran for the president of the United States in 1988 and unsuccessfully did not win. He also founded Christian Coalition, a Christian right organization that raises money for conservation political candidates. I don't know what that means, but whatever. He's also founder of CEO and chancellor of Regent University, which is a Bible college. So he's worth 100 million. Kenneth Copeland, our lovely crazy resident, is worth $300 million. $300 million. Kenneth Copeland converted to Christianity in 1960 and went on to become a giant within the Word of Faith branch of Pentecostalism. So he's white Pentecostal, Southern Pentecostal. 17.5 million was the price tag on his aircraft. Okay. 6.3.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a jet. It's an air. And okay, the jet and the other aircraft, 17.5 million, 6.3 million for the lakefront mansion that he says was funded by his church. Boom. Case closed.
Yeah, you're. What do they say in the business? You're busted.
$6.3 million for the lakefront mansion that was funded by his church. He said all those reports that he's worth $300 million, and other reports say Copeland could be worth $750 million or more. The reason that is, I don't know if you guys remember this, way back in the day, when he was being questioned and everybody was running after him, talking about what do you need with this Rolls Royce and what do you need with a jet and this, that, and the third. When he got audited and stuff, they're still not sure that, his books were the books or whatever, but they're not going to question him, because the IRS gets their chunk of change from this dude. But he is the highest paid. He's the highest paid pastor on the planet. That means in the world. That means everywhere in the whole universe. Kenneth Copeland is the highest paid pastor to date.
Wow.
And if you want to get these stats, go to showbizcheatsheet.com and look up mega churches. And there you have it.
So,
ladies, do his church members have access to this aircraft since they paid for it? Child, who you asking?
You think you think they all flying that plane? No.
No. But it's a jet and an aircraft. So listen, we got some fun stuff to talk about. I'm gonna let Information Man say what he wants to say, and then we're gonna move on to something super funny. Go ahead, Information.
No, I was just gonna say, the people who are probably getting access to these perks would be the inner circle, right? All these types of groups and religious organizations, you have a inner circle of people that you work with, that you're most close with. Even when you look at Dr. King had an inner circle of those that were involved in the civil rights movement. It's just a reality. As individuals, we all have our own inner circles, which would be people that we most trust and that we feel confident in telling personal things to. That's just the reality. No shade on them for that, but it's just a reality.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I have a couple people. My sister who's in the audience right now, and a couple other people. But I don't even. You can't even call my circle a circle. It's more like a sea. I have learned over my 50 years of living that it is better not to put my 100% trust in people, because it's just too much. Like, it's too much. But listen, Information Man was telling me, y'all, about something. You told me last week, and then you sent me some clips today. And I did not want to leave without touching base, because I know a lot of y'all watch these people. what's the name of the show? Love and Hip
Love
Hop.
and Hip Hop. Yeah.
Is it Love and Hip Hop Atlanta or is it LA? Is it,
I
I don't know,
believe
Hollywood?
I think originally it was Love and Hip Hop in Atlanta. That's where they first started the show. And then they have an LA version to it, right? Then they got a
Yeah,
New York version to it. But I think the Atlanta version is the original version and probably maybe the most entertaining version of all three of them.
definitely the South. That we're very colorful in the South. Now, this has to do with Stevie J and
Mm-hmm.
Faith. Now, information man, give us the rundown because you know
Well, I
you
was
everything
poking
411.
around the bushes today,
Yes.
found it came up on a couple of videos. Then I had a chance to look at some clips from the Love and Hip Hop in Atlanta. And I found it interesting that Stevie J and Faith Evans have had these problems in their relationship.
I
But
find
I
it
noticed
interesting.
early on, she said that she didn't want to be in a relationship with Stevie J because of his infidelity history, his lack of, being honest about what he's doing outside of their own bedroom. And it looks like
Yeah.
at one point in time, Faith Evans, as you know, and everybody, she didn't want to be in a relationship with him. They were friends. She felt, hey, let's not mess up our friendship. Let's remain friends. We don't want to mix it up like that. But apparently she felt
Yeah.
weak for him and he felt weak for her. And they had known each other for a number of years and they
Right.
got involved in a sort of a relationship. The thing that really kills me is that Stevie J said out of his own mouth that Biggie Smalls was a good friend of his. And we know that Faith Evans was married to Biggie Smalls. And as a man, we have a man code, at least those men that have honor about themselves.
Right.
I don't feel comfortable, as I was telling you, getting into a
Yeah.
relationship or even marrying the woman that
Weird.
the woman of my friend, or at least someone I'm saying is my good friend. I just think there's something weird about that. You knew that this
That,
was you, Biggie's your friend, and now you're messing with his woman. I know he's not here, he's no longer with us,
big
but it just seems kind of
obvious.
weird. And as a man, why are you doing that? I just don't feel comfortable with messing with someone that was with one of my boys. That's just my opinion. But anyway, they got in this relationship
Yeah.
from not going with her best judgment.
Yeah.
Stevie J began, as you all know, to cheat on her in the relationship. So one
Exactly.
time he took her on a walk into the park and he tried to say, oh, I want to be with you. I want you to come live with me in Los Angeles.
Okay.
And she kind of told him right then and there, she bust his bubble and said, I'm not going to be moving anywhere. And I don't want to stay in this relationship because I know what you've been doing, Stevie J. I know what you've been doing. You've been running around here and there, messing with women here and there. And then he says, yeah, I've been doing wrong. I know. And she gave him the cold shoulder and didn't want to deal with him anymore. Well, then
Right.
flip that around again. Come to find out, Stevie J revealed to everybody that they had gotten married. They had a secret marriage
Yes.
that nobody knew about. Now, and
Nobody.
I'm saying to myself, how do you go from saying you don't even want to be in a relationship with a man that you knew was shady when it came to his infidelity? Then you end
Right.
up marrying him when he cheated on you and just being girlfriend and boyfriend. Then you
Now,
move in with him.
what I heard was what I saw on the
Mm-hmm.
internet was that she cheated on Stevie in their home, in their bed with a
Yeah.
man, with some
Right.
man.
Right.
Then I saw, maybe like a few days or a couple of weeks or whatever, that nah, she didn't cheat, nah, she didn't do it. And then a couple of days ago, I saw where he was asking for spousal support. So I was totally confused because I'm like, didn't y'all just get back together? So I
Well,
guess Faith was,
well,
no, we're not getting back together.
well, here's a little secret.
And so he was
They were
support.
saying that he, in the divorce, because he's the one that struck the divorce first, I believe so. They were saying that Stevie J wanted the courts to look at all of her assets, where she makes all her money. So he's
Ooh,
trying. The last thing I saw is that he was trying to figure out a way that he could benefit from the money that she makes. Because why would you be concerned about all of her assets unless you're trying to make a move in a way that a woman would make a move in trying to get assets from a man that she was married to. Looks like Stevie J's trying to turn those tables around on Faith Evans and get her particular resources. So, and I'm going to be honest with you. I understand why he's doing it. The guy is really, in my opinion, he's a has-been in the industry, right? He's a guy that got rich. He made a lot of money off of songs that he wrote in the earlier days of hip hop. His best years are behind him. Of course, he's written some songs for Faith Evans. I personally think that he attached himself to Faith as well because he knows that she's still more relevant than him, and that he had all these problems with child support. I think he tried to attach himself to her as a way to maintain a life support for himself personally. Something. So the last I heard is that he's trying to get them to look at all her assets. But check this out. I got more for you.
Wait. You have a question. Back to Basics says, isn't that dirty macking? I know Biggie Smalls is gone.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Dirty macking. So it turned out, though, Twanna, that despite them going through this divorce, there's a rumor now that says that they're not divorced, that they're still together. And on that clip that I sent you today, they were saying in there that they were seen at the beach having a good time together. Not too long ago.
Listen, Kelly Price all over again. This is for attention. This is a publicity stunt. You know, they're going to be like it all. We worked it out, and, you know, we're going to stay together. I did wrong. She did wrong. You know, blah, blah, blah. But they haven't been in the limelight lately. Nobody's been checking for them or whatever. So if they are still together and they were spotted having a good time, it does make sense for this to be a publicity stunt, especially if maybe somebody's coming out with some new music, or if Love and Hip Hop is about to come back for the next season and they need a storyline.
So it could be that this is all to entice the public. But ladies and gentlemen, let me play this audio clip for you.
Yes.
Because the audio clip is where, and you figure out for yourself if it's real or if it's just staged, where he was very upset with her because she had smashed or got involved with some guy in his household and had sex. And he said, "Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that?" And she said, "I hate you. Get away from me." Personally, she sounded to me, in the way she was saying, "I hate you," it sounded real to me. Now, I don't know if it's, like I said, is it staged or do they really got some friction going on? Because in that same video, in the other video that I showed you, they made a claim that Faith Evans had attacked Stevie before, had attacked him physically in 2020, and he got arrested for it. Now, in the photo that they showed of her, to me, and we talked about this before we went on live, it looked like a younger photo, like sometime way back when. But they're saying that, and you can look this up, do research. If she did get arrested for a domestic dispute against this man, it would be in the record somewhere. But let me play this, and you all be the best guest of, do you think this is just a hoax or is it real? Personally, I think Faith, she sounded kind of like she was kind of pissed off at him for real. But let me play this right now. Hopefully everybody can hear this. Oops. Let me bring this back real quick. And let me unplug the volume there. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Please move out the way. Hold the f up. No. God damn. We live. I hate you. We live. It's cool. We live. They see. I hate you. Please leave me alone. Please. I hate you. We live. I hate you. It's cool. We live. It's cool. Shit. F too. I ain't going nowhere. F too. I hate you too. Good. But we in the business. You. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. You is on in my own house, bitch. You bitch. You bitch. You in my house. You. I heard you. So you happy about it, bitch? Huh? You are? That's what you like to do? How can you disrespect me, though? I didn't do nothing to you. All I did was love you. you do that to me? How can you do that to me? But how can you do it to me, though? Please. But how can you do that to me? Get away. How can you somebody on me? Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Get your hand off of me. Get your hands off of me. Somebody on me. Get your hands somebody on me. When I'm watching you and your son every day. Get your hands off of me. I'm asking you. Please. Stop. How can you somebody on me? Stop. How can you somebody on me? You can do whatever. You can spend as you want.
All right, I'm going to stop it there. I'm looking at the video where you can kind of see her expression. Maybe I'm wrong or right, but she looked legitimately irritated by him. Or to me, she looked like she was irritated by him, or at least in her voice, she sounded irritated. But it doesn't mean that it could not be staged still, because people can be great actors as well.
To me, it sounded like a fight. You know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you ate my spaghetti and I was saving it for later type of fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It didn't sound, authentic, because
It sounded authentic to you?
We've all seen both of them fight with other people, and that ain't it.
Well, in the reports, they were saying that there has been, and this is speculation here, that there has been physical abuse between the two of them, drug use as well.
Yeah, so they could be high or anything. It just didn't, like a full blown out fight. That didn't, you know what I'm saying? Because we all know Stevie J can play cool man or whatever, but when he really gets mad, we've seen that too.
Right.
And he's really cool on this tape or whatever. I just kind of feel like it's for the next upcoming season of Love and Hip Hop, which actually would benefit Faith, because when was the last time she had new music come out?
Right. And when is the last time she had a hit album, if I'm not mistaken?
The last thing I heard from Faith, she did a song a while back with El DeBarge, Lay With Me, and that was it.
Right.
So
now in the Love and Hip Hop, she often talks about traveling over to Japan or other countries to perform. And there are quite a few artists like her who actually are making money and doing better with their older material when they go across seas and what they're doing in America.
What's her name from Destiny's Child? Kelly.
Right.
Oh my God. Europe loves her. She's over there. It's not even funny.
Right. Like, well, what about that guy who sung that Thung song? What's his name? From Drew Park. Drew Park. I know. Yeah, there was a group called Drew Park, and the reason why I know that much is because Drew Park is a park in Baltimore, Maryland. I got family out there, and there was a group called Drew Park, and there was this guy. Remember the guy? He had blonde hair. He dyed his hair blonde. People thought he was sort of gay or what have you. Yeah. And he sung that song, Thung, 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 Thung. That was like a hit song back in the day, right? Well, his career, when he left Drew Hill, his career,
Drew Hill and
right. He left the group Drew Hill because he was like the standout person in the group, right?
Yeah.
His solo career didn't take off, which happens to people sometimes.
Yeah.
And so he kind of went bloop, and then all of a sudden he found success where, of all places, in Japan. He's like a big star in Japan. So he flies over there and makes a lot of money in Japan every year.
Listen, Lady T Speaks says Stevie J, he was gaslighting her, and all that woman wanted to do was get some rest in peace. Nasty something to when I'm sleepy and tired. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know the whole, thing, Lady T, but if that's what it was, she just wanted to go and rest and go to sleep, and he was, picking on her or whatever, then yeah, he probably did get cussed out. Aesop says that's not love, that's lust. JJ, she sounds exhausted. That could be it. That could be it. Tired of the foolishness, tired of the mess. I don't know. But Amanda seems to think that Stevie J uses passive aggressiveness in the relationship.
I agree with her.
Lady T says you do make more money overseas. I totally agree, because these people are like, even when Stephen Cowell went back to the UK and struck up his show, what was the UK Has Talent or something similar to America's Got Talent. He's
Right.
rich all again, so it didn't really make a difference if American Idol tanked or what, because he already had some stuff in the pot brewing, and he's that guy again. Back to basics. That was a half done argument. They need to work on their acting. Really? I don't know. You guys, go look at the Google it and look at the video for yourself and see, and then come back over here and comment in the comment section. Information, man. This has been great. It's been fun. I want you to shamelessly plug yourself and all of your things. Let my audience know where and why.
Well, you can find me, of course, I'm all over YouTube these days. You can find me at Information Man Show. Subscribe to the channel. I thank everybody for being over here tonight. I also have a podcast channel, and I've got to figure out the direction I want to continue with that channel. And that's the Information Man Speaks podcast. And then I'm doing something that I'm very excited about right now. I'm just getting it at ground floor. I got about maybe 61 subscribers somewhere in there on my third channel. This is called Your News Shorts. The concept of this is sort of like, okay, like, YouTube, they have this thing called shorts, and shorts are very popular. They do get a lot of views. So my concept is to do breaking news stories at any time that they happen, that I'm available to break those stories. So I spend a lot of time looking at what's happening on the news, looking for all kind of alerts. And if there's something, the goal is to focus on stories that would get the most attention, get people's most attention. And so I can go, I've got it all set up where I can go live at any time that I choose to, when I'm physically able to be in my studio, and I can break a story. But this is the key. The goal is not to do a live stream for an hour, 2 hours, and 3 hours. The goal is to go on, and whatever the story has to give you, your stream could be 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, whatever. But you want to keep it within that period and don't go into an hour and 2 hours. And then that's it. So you're giving people updates, explosive news that they may not know about for a short, condensed time, which causes people to watch the whole content, which gives you watch times, click-through rate, gives you all of that. And to make it where people can actually watch your content on the move, on the run. So it's not a situation where they got to say, well, I don't have time to watch all it. No, they can watch it on the run because it's very quick to the point. The beauty in this is that I could probably, realistically, if I wanted to, depending on what's going on in the news, I could probably drop 4 or 5 videos in a day with this type of concept.
Exactly.
If I have the time to do it at the time that I'm available to do it. So I could drop, like, for example, I dropped a video before I came on with you tonight about the tornado incident. Now, when I get off with you, I'm probably going to drop another video about Don Lemon and how he's kind of turned the tides now into turning on one Jesse Smollett. So I'm going to drop a video on that right after I get off with you here. And then because I'm a night owl on the weekends, I could probably go live again at 10 or 11 o'clock at night and drop another story that people can watch the next day, or people that are in my time zone. So I feel if I keep doing this consistently, it could break me through the algorithms of YouTube and bring me more subscribers, because I'm talking about hot button topics. And I could be talking about a topic that could interest any and everybody, no matter what race you are or age you are. So I'm going to see what happens. I'm sort of experimenting with this concept, but this is the thing that's unique about it too, that I'm proud of. When you watch this, I'm giving you a news anchor sort of flavor, meaning I've got the overlays like I'm a news show, the whole 9 yard. And so when you're watching it, I'm not giving you a lot of music and popping circumstance like I do on my first channel. I simply get into the story, and I even got my music, I got my broadcast music that I play on my first channel every now and then. Like this, I give you a little bit of that flavor. All right, right? I'll start the show off like that, boom, and get into the content, because sometimes people, they want to hear what you got to say, but they want to get past the music and all of that. Just get into it, and that's the concept. That's the concept.
Listen, you got some comments. Amanda says, I don't think it was staged. Didn't sound staged to me. She sounds fed up. And then you got a cute Aesop says, Information Man looks like a young Dr. Dre.
Oh my God.
Catherine said,
Dr. Dre.
Catherine said, yeah. And then Catherine said, did Dr. Dre really have that party? I don't know about a party.
What party
do you know?
Are they talking about?
I don't know. She said, did Dr. Dre really have that party? I don't know.
I know Dr. Dre has been going through a whole bunch of stuff with his ex-wife because she wants this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
So I know, and then remember, there was this whole issue, because I did a video about this on my podcast channel. There was this whole issue around Dr. Dre and his daughter, his estranged daughter, who's upset with him because he has not been paying her any attention.
Oh, Amanda, the divorce party. Yeah. It was real.
Oh, divorce.
I thought you said.
Oh, so he did have a divorce party. Okay, now I know what she's talking about. Yeah, that is true. He did. He went through a really nasty breakup, and really where it was tough is that, he's got money, but his ex-wife, man, she was asking for a lot, and she got a lot out of the situation. So
I talked about it on my channel. People didn't really seem to, be searching for that, story. So I just let it go. But I thought it was really sad that she had him served at his grandmother's or mother's funeral. They were outside around the grave or whatever, and the guy was there to serve him. I thought that was really ratchet. Right. She said something to the effect of, no, he didn't walk up there. They waited until he was in the parking lot. It was the wrong day, the wrong time for you to be serving somebody, papers asking for what you want in the divorce settlement. That was tacky.
It shows you that it shows you that there was definitely some serious problems in the relationship.
But the divorce
problems.
Yeah. And he probably threw it because of that. It was good riddance. So there you go. Well, all right, Information Man. This has been so much fun as always.
Oh yeah, we gotta do it again. Sounds good. We'll get into some more content. I appreciate you having me over, and I hope you have a great night. Be safe out there where you are, because you got these tornadoes running all over the place throughout the South.
That's
really a shame.
Yeah,
I want to say put the people in Illinois, Kentucky, throughout the South, the Midwest, and the Southern states, put them in your prayers, because they said, the last I checked in my video that I did, they said it was about 80. They believe 80 people pronounced dead. There was 2 people injured, 1 dead in Tennessee. They feel it's up to about 70, but it's probably going to go up, of people who died in Kentucky. So put people in your prayers.
Yeah.
So
Kentucky got hit. The last time I saw was 80, but they said the death toll was rising. So by now, I don't know how many bodies they found.
Right.
Amanda said, Twanna, can go to pick up her husband. I saw him, and I was right. That was the same dude we talked about. Letting go of all that money is about to kill him. I hope he doesn't have a heart attack. Wasn't he in the hospital for something like that, like a stroke or a heart attack?
Yeah, It was reported that Dr. Dre had something going on with his heart, if I'm not mistaken.
All that stress.
Something. Yeah, and there was some talk about him. People thought that he actually had died, because there was so much misinformation around his medical situation. So we'll see what's going on, Nappy Yankee. I see you back in the chat again. So I'm gonna step on off the panel. I thank you again for letting me come over and have this great discussion. Everybody be blessed.
Thank you.
Thank you. And once again, give people your prayers because that was a tragic thing that just happened across the country last night. And take care, everybody. Take care, Twanna. Love you. Peace.
I love you too.
All
Look,
right,
guys, my sister is in the chat right now, and she's like, "We got to have movie night," so I'm about to go have movie night and wrap this on up. But I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here, and I will talk to all of you in the next video. Bye, guys.